Putin's sudden appearance in the Kremlin. Secret interview with Tucker under cover of the night? On February 5, the famous American journalist Tucker Carlson, who became best known for his criticism of the current administration in the United States, arrived in Moscow. Carlson shared the story of how several years ago the US National Security Agency hacked his phone because of his intentions to conduct an interview with Russian President Vladimir Putin in the summer of 2021. "I'm not hiding the fact, but I was definitely hiding my plans to interview Putin," Carlson said at the time. Who is Tucker Carlson? Born in 1969 in San Francisco, Carlson had a fairly ordinary start to his journalism career, but his ratings skyrocketed in 2016 with a political show on the Fox News channel. In his speeches, he was not afraid to criticize the erroneous decisions of local authorities, which is why he was fired in 2023. Many media outlets, succumbing to provocations, criticized Carlson for his harsh statements against the authorities, accusing him of misogyny and racism. However, the main reason for his dismissal was his sympathy for Vladimir Putin. He only noted that the special operation in Ukraine has its reasons and called not to interfere in the internal affairs of the country. His freedom of speech, so prized in the US, was questioned, and he was eventually fired by Fox Corporation CEO Lachlan Murdoch and Fox News Media CEO Suzanne Scott. Carlson is also known for his views and statements about Russia. Last year he said that Russia is the best place for Christians because here, unlike country U, churches are not closed and priests are not arrested. However, he was prohibited from interviewing Vladimir Putin. The journalist accused the US authorities of aggressive attempts to control the media. "I tried to interview Vladimir Putin, but the American government stopped me," Carlson told the Swiss publication. Carlson arrived in Moscow, arousing the interest of not only domestic but also world media. Businessman and activist Kim.com said the journalist came to Russia to interview Putin and expose Western lies. But is this really the purpose of his visit? Kremlin pool journalists reported that Russian President Vladimir Putin left his residence in Novo Ogarevo on the evening of February 5 and headed to the Kremlin. Putin arrived in the Kremlin from his residence near Moscow at 22:50. This evening's arrival aroused particular interest among journalists. It is assumed that he will meet with Tucker Carlson. However, Russian Presidential Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov noted that he has nothing to report yet about Putin's interview with foreign media. At the same time, the Kremlin welcomes the work of foreign journalists. How did the United States react to Carlson's visit to Moscow? In the United States, the news about the TV presenter's visit to Russia was received differently. Former Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger, whom Tucker often ridiculed on his programs, called the journalist a traitor. And the former chief of staff of the US Vice President, Bill Kristol, even proposed to temporarily ban him from entering America. Member of the House of Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, on the contrary, supported Carlson. According to her, it is the journalist's truthful view of current political events, including the Ukrainian conflict, that irritates supporters of his President Joe Biden so much. American billionaire Elon Musk also spoke out on this topic. He did not support calls to ban journalist Tucker Carlson from entering the US if he will interview Putin. The businessman agreed that American journalists have been interviewing any public figures for many years, including those whose views may differ from their own. Will Carlson interview Putin? After the information noise accompanying Carlson's arrival in Moscow, Putin is unlikely will want to meet with him, even if such a meeting was planned, Americanist Alexander Domrin told News.ru. According to him, foreign journalists who come to communicate with the Russian leader do not shine before achieving it. A serious journalist, if he came to meet with the president of Russia, would first do an interview with him, and then go to the Bolshoi Theater, so that many people can see him there, the Americanist noted. Domrin cited the example of the visit to Moscow in 2017 of the American director Oliver Stone, who created the 4-part documentary Interview with Putin. When a journalist wants to interview Putin, he negotiates this through the presidential administration. We remember how Oliver Stone did this without prior fuss, the Americanist recalled. What Carlson says about Russia. From 2016 to 2023, the journalist hosted a political talk show on Fox News called An Evening with Tucker Carlson. His dismissal is associated with a conflict between the TV channel and the manufacturer of voting machines, Dominion Voting Systems. In one of his evening broadcasts, Carlson and his guests suggested that the manufacturers of these devices helped Biden rig the results of the 2020 presidential election. Dominion sued for defamation. After the trial, The parties were able to conclude a settlement agreement, but it cost the TV channel almost $800 million. In episodes of his show, Carlson regularly expressed sympathy for the policies of Russian leader Vladimir Putin. The journalist stated that Russia had its own reasons for launching a special operation in Ukraine. He called on foreign states not to interfere in the conflict, considering it an internal matter of Moscow and Kyiv. Carlson criticizes his aid to Ukraine. Russian state television channels often broadcast excerpts from interviews he conducted, Bloomberg notes. The journalist spoke negatively about Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, once admitting that he was rooting for Moscow, writes The Guardian. Carlson recently said that Russia is a more Christian state than Ukraine. According to him, this is due to the fact that Kyiv is persecuting believers, but no one is allowed to ask about this. Quote,